Finally, people are waking up. Finally, people are starting to understand that these politicians in D.C. do not have their best interests at heart. That voting is a farce. That we have been duped for hundreds of years. That the creation of the fiat currency is a way to siphon wealth from the middle and lower class to the 1%. When you invade a country and steal their president, you understand that there are no rules for these people. When you support a nation that has been 86ing their neighbor's population since their inception in the 40s, you understand that there is much more at stake here. That America first is a lie, and always has been. People are understanding that when you pay taxes on a vehicle, and you go to sell that vehicle, and then that person who purchases your vehicle that you already paid taxes on has to pay taxes again, that it's one big sham. That when you have billions of dollars supposedly being stolen from the taxpayers, unbeknownst to the federal government or state government, I mean, that in itself is a joke. You don't get away with stealing billions of dollars from the U.S. government and when you're some recent immigrant to the country without having help. Okay, that money is going somewhere, and it's going over to a split state in Africa, Somali-land, so that you can break up that country in order to have your military presence there, so you can transfer people to that land where you destroyed their homeland. There are many factors here. When you have a CARES bill that transfers trillions of dollars to the most wealthy, and you brag about how you and the pharmaceutical companies are doing such a wonderful job. Okay, it's not just him, it's not just Trump, it's Biden, it's Obama, all of these people who are placed into their positions by these oligarchs, by these aristocrats who come from old money. Every country is controlled by old money. It's the illusion of choice that they give people, and that they've been giving people ever since voting became a thing in the Western world. They give you distractions, they give you war, they give you economic good times and bad times. They give you race relations that are on the rocks. They give you immigration. All these things that distract people and divide people, when in reality the majority of the population agree on major issues like fiat currency, like the dollar, like the value of the dollar, like how it has been squeezed from the onset, and every dollar that you possess is worth less and less every day. I've been preaching this for years, and finally it's come to fruition, and now they have to do dirty things to keep it from collapsing on its head and just prolonging it and slowing the roll. You're going to eliminate the 1 cent, and then slowly you'll eliminate 5 cents and 25 cents, and inevitably it'll turn digital, and digital will create an era of complete control over the individual. You won't be able, there will be no so-called free speech. There will be none of this. Everything, every so-called right that we have is enforced by somebody with a G-U-N. Okay? We don't have rights. Okay? Some of us who believe in God, we believe we have inherent rights, and that's why we're willing to fight for them. But these don't come, they're not free. Everything that we have in the West comes at a cost. And they want to take all of that away. They give and take, and they've been waiting for this opportunity for a long time. They've waited for technology to catch up to their dominant plans, their world order, the order in which they want to control. They want to control the world. They have worked on the Middle East for a long time because they want a singular government. And when you westernize or semi-westernize the Middle East and the rest of the world, you'll be able to do that at some point with technology. You know, you don't have, I don't believe for a moment that these countries, these nations they say are our enemies, are actually our enemies. They all work for the same people. Why in the world would the Western nations allow China and Russia when they were at their weakest after the Cold War, and when Britain was inundating China with opium, and it was a poor, weak nation? Why in the world would they allow them to become this powerful, dominant nation that has these horrible weapons if they thought that they couldn't control the situation? So, you know, when you have Russia and China and all the countries, no matter who they are, they're all falling in line with lockdown orders, with the COVID regulations, following CDC guidelines, following all the steps that were laid out for them by the West. You know, one has to wonder, you know, why they would do that. It's about control. They all seek control and dominance over the majority. And a technocratic society is on its way. And people are slowly waking up. Unfortunately, it may be too late. You know, everybody's still enamored with their ideological ways, worrying about issues that, yes, are important, but in the grand scale of things are minuscule compared to what's coming. And until people realize that, well, are going to have a rude awakening. So I pray and hope that people understand that there is no voting your way out of this. That the only way forward is to come together and engage in a revolution. Because without that, we're lost.